Hello. I am so excited. I have the most beautiful sister, woman, goddess, sanctuary space holding, glorious woman, Tamala Ridge, with us today. And we are going to discuss one of our both most favorite themes of all time, mindfulness, and what mindfulness actually is and how we can embody it and practice it in our everyday life. And we're going to share about our journey. And this is all part of the membership to the spiritual Bling Collective. And we can see I've got little everyday wear bling, and Tamala's got some beautiful custom design bling that I've made her. So we're going to share a bit about our journey. But welcome, beautiful woman.
Thank you, beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love you. I love that little introduction. I really do feel like we're sisters, yeah? Like I feel we're very similar. Like there's a lot of stuff that we do. Like I'm in your program, you're in my program. I think we just like hanging out together, don't we? Really?
We like to hang out. And we met, I think because Phoenix was still quite little. I think he was 8 or 9 months, and it was my first adventure out the house. And we met at the Heart Centered Conference, which was in Britain, Sunshine Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember just meeting you and I'd seen you through, the intuitive intelligence training, which you did originally, and then I've done that. And, I remember kind of being, oh, Tamala. And yeah, we just connected and we had so much in common with the themes that we teach. And then I've been in your sanctuary all last year. I was in the space holding sanctuary, which was just, and still is, I'm still there. It was such a beautiful space to be held. And now I'm doing your space holding immersion, 5-day program, which I'm just loving. And now you're in Spiritual Bling. So it's been a beautiful journey. But let's talk about the sanctuary and let's talk about detoxing, because I know you've got a detox coming up really, really soon. And it is quite life-changing. Detoxing is quite life-changing and connects deeply with mindfulness, because there's no hiding. Right? So maybe like mindfulness, the way I describe mindfulness is cultivating a deep sense of awareness without judgment.
Yes.
And really being the kind of observer and allowing yourself to anchor into the present moment.
Yes.
And when I teach in corporate, or when I've taught for mindfulness for about 10 years, when I wrote about mindfulness in Mother Om, it really is just bringing the mind back to the present moment. And there's this great analogy that I love to share because everyone can relate to it. It's like, imagine this excitable, squishy puppy, and they just are jumping around everywhere, and you take it to the park and there's a child and they wee against a tree and they're sniffing the flowers and they're just adorable. And basically that's like our mind when it comes to daily distraction.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we're over there and we feel all these emotions and we don't really know why, and we're very overwhelmed and we're bombarded, and it's really just busy. It's just busy and overexcited most of the time. But we know we can train a puppy. We can take it to puppy school. We can put it on a lead. We can give it treats. And over time, we tell the dog to sit or lie or whatever it is that you do with your dog. And we know over time that dog can be trained. And the mind is exactly the same.
Yes.
We can train the mind. We can teach the mind. We can, really, it's about cultivating a daily practice. So for me, mindfulness is always just bring it back in each moment, in each breath, because life happens right now. Yes. In the present moment. It's not the worry of the future or the anxiety of the past, which is where most people spend about 98% of their time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's about cultivating this deep sense of presence, and we do it through anchors, through using the senses. And so detoxing, I found, was a really kind of accelerated, profound, quite challenging process of being really present with our body and our thoughts and our mind and our spiritual journey. So let's talk about detoxing, and I'd love you to share how do you describe mindfulness?
Yeah. And I think that's probably why I fell in love with you. I think I'd met you before I'd heard you on a podcast. I think you were just written Mother Om, and you were talking about mindfulness and mindful parenting. And I heard you on a podcast and I was like, I love this chick. She's speaking my language. I wondered about you, and then we met at the conference and you gave me a copy of your beautiful book.
Yeah.
And that's probably what our foundational connection was, that deep understanding of mindfulness. Because for me, mindfulness is, and I said it the other day, mindfulness is the medicine for everything. Like, it's the foundation for everything. And everything that I do, or all of my work, bounces off mindfulness. That's the foundation. It's the first module in all of my trainings. And I feel, and it's part of my mission, and I know it's your mission as well, is to educate and teach and model and spread the word about the depth of mindfulness and the truth of mindfulness and the exquisiteness of mindfulness. And, you know, most people can say, yes, well, I'm mindful because I wash the dishes and I feel the water on my skin and I'm present and I know I'm washing the dishes. And yes, that is mindfulness. Absolutely, being in the present moment and using our senses to connect with the now. So our sight, our smell, our taste, our touch, our hearing. Because when we are here, we're awake. And then when we go into our fearful thinking about the future or the past, we literally fall asleep. We literally get carried away on that thought bubble into a dream, into an illusion, because the future doesn't exist and the past doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is right here, right now. So when we're not present right here, right now, we are literally asleep. And so mindfulness is, yes, using the senses to experience the present moment. But the next layer to that is addressing the thinking and addressing the thoughts. And so mindfulness is about noticing when our thoughts have drifted away, noticing, and then coming back to one of those anchors: the breath, the thought, the sound, the hearing, the touch, the smell. But the next layer is the thoughts. And most people miss out on that. They go, oh yeah, I'm just being mindful of my senses. They're like, yes, that's the anchor to get you here. Now we have to find the space between the thinking. Because in the space between the thinking is heaven, is joy, is awakeness, is presence, is love, is whatever is there, is pure conscious awareness. Because like you said, we are not this 3D body having thoughts. We are the observer of this 3D body. We are the observer of our thoughts. We are the observer of this external reality, pure conscious awareness. And so going to the depth of mindfulness like that is really where we can start, because what we want to do is come home. What we want to do is connect to the truth of who we are. And it's beyond this realm, this physical 3D realm. And mindfulness is one of probably the most profound experiences that can take you there, can take us all there. And so then detoxing, oh my gosh, that's like the whole nother level. Detoxing is a hack. Detoxing is how we can access mindfulness more easily, because detoxing not only addresses the physical toxins, it addresses the mental toxins. So like you said, when we're dealing with the puppy who's running around and weeing everywhere and so excited and blah, 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 it's like, how do you get the puppy to just sit freaking still and be present and mindful? Detoxing helps the physical, crazy, energetic, busy mind to become still, because physical toxins have a direct relationship to our mental toxins. I notice when I detox that my negative, fearful thoughts, they just dissipate. There is no effort involved. In fact, you can wake up one day and go, I haven't had a really bad thought for days. Like, where did they go? And so I can access the present moment because I'm clearing the veils, the physical toxins, the mental toxins, to access the present, to access heaven. Like, it's a hack. It's an incredible hack. Yeah. Did you find that? How did you find it?
Oh, look, I've done 2 detoxes, and the first one I did find pretty challenging, you know, like coffee and sugar. And even though you think you're pretty healthy, it's not just food, it's many things that we do in our world to distract us from, you know, I mean, I love that you talk about addiction in such a beautiful way, because you're like, we're actually addicted to the self-loathing that comes from reaching for the chocolate or the wine or the Netflix or the sex or whatever it is. It's then the, oh my God, why did I do that? And I'm such a, you know, I should have gone to bed earlier, and, you know, that didn't make me feel good. And it's so true, right? Like, it's so true that that's what we're actually addicted to. And when we talk about how the mind works, and this is something I also share because people love some statistics and they like to be able to visualize the mind. is that, you know, mind is a record player. It's literally a record player. It is playing the same thought we had yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before, and it just goes round and round like this motorway in our brain.
Yeah.
And about 70% of our thoughts are really negative, really judgmental, really self-loathing and critical. And we're just damn right mean to ourselves, and then that filters out to our children and our family, and we get triggered, and you know, someone cuts us up in traffic and we're like, man, you know, and it flows out because we have no awareness of what's happening in our mind. And what's really interesting about the way the mind works is on that cycle, imagine a hamster wheel, right? Imagine the mind looping. You've got 9 seconds until you start to attract another thought of the same nature. Right? You wake up, you're tired, you went to bed late, you didn't sleep well, you grab the coffee, you're stressed, the kids are annoying you. The cycle, right? Down into the self-loathing. Yeah. You've got 9 seconds to change that thought or behavior. And so that's really interesting, right? We're always in control. We always have an opportunity, a moment to take a breath, you know, like reflect, ask for a hug, whatever it is you need in that moment, right, to start to change that. And then, because I love intuition and I see what I've learned on my journey is this evolution of kind of mindfulness to heartfulness, which I call, and being intuitive. Intuition is 3 seconds. So 9 seconds for a thought, 3 seconds for intuition. And so this is constant muscle. And you start with mindfulness, and you're going to the spiritual gym and you're activating the mindful muscle. And then as you evolve on your journey, you become really, really intuitive and very open to consciousness and divine wisdom and seeing the world through beautiful God goggles. I love that you described that. You know, put on your goggles, and then you can be of beautiful service to your clients, your family, your loved ones. So it's this gorgeous evolution. That's what I discovered in my journey of practicing. You know, I started with yoga and then it became mindfulness, and I still really love mindfulness and teach it very often. But detoxing for me was, wow, the thoughts were loud and confronting, and you know, it was very like, why are we going for the chocolate, the wine, the sugar, the Netflix? Like, what's underneath that?
Yeah,
it was in a really accelerated process, and you have headaches and you feel shitty and you're cranky, and then of course you get to day 4 or 5 and then you feel great and your skin looks beautiful. And
what it's all about.
Yeah. You become addicted then to feeling great. And I love again that you talk about get addicted to oxytocin, like the cortisol, the adrenaline, the stress hormone in our body. You know, it's always like we're designed to survive, right? It's always there. But get addicted to this oxytocin and these beautiful love hormones, and that's mindfulness.
Yeah, and it's a choice. The ultimate empowerment that we each have is connecting in with our free will.
Yeah.
Like you said before, when we're in those fearful thoughts and we're just getting up and we're tired and we're reacting and we're just on autopilot because we're not in the present moment, we're worried about the future and what did I do yesterday, and did I put the oven on, and I've got to get the kids to school, and I've got my to-do list to do, and I'm not even awake with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then when
that's 98% of the time we're on autopilot.
We're asleep
98% of the time. Yeah. And so quite often, sorry to interrupt you, this is like when I'm speaking, I'm like, and I know that half of you are not listening to me at all. Like, you're not listening, you're thinking about something else, right? So it's like, come back to me, right? And it's so true, right? I'm sure you experience that. Even with my partner, I'll be like, you listening?
Yeah. No, with my 7-year-old, always.
Yeah. Are you with me? Yeah. So I get that, but sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to share.
That's right. I totally forgot what I was saying then. But we're talking about the present moment, and well, that's where the free will. So we get to access our free will because free will is our God-given gift. It is the one thing that we all have access to in order to manifest and create the life of our dreams. It's the one thing that we have that we can access heaven. Because heaven's not somewhere we go when we die, because as we know, the future doesn't exist. It hasn't happened. Heaven and hell are right here, right now. So our free will is the empowerment tool that we have to choose presence, to choose a loving thought, to choose to slow down. And what we all need to do, though, once we can access that free will, because we can only access it when we're awake. When we're on autopilot, we can't access it. We're not accessing it. We're just being divinely asleep.
Yeah.
When we come back to the present moment, we access our free will. We can find it between the spaces between the thoughts. We're like, oh, I have a choice. Do I choose to continue, like you say, on that rabbit wheel of thought, or do I choose to take a breath and choose something else? Love versus fear.
Yeah.
The work then needs to be done on our worthiness, because
Yeah.
we decide whether we go to heaven or hell, not God. God doesn't sit there in judgment and go, you're going to be a bad girl, you're going off to hell, and da, da, da. We do. We are our own judge and jury. So we get to choose our worthiness. Am I worthy to choose now a loving thought, a loving action, a loving life?
Yeah.
Or am I going to continue to choose out of my guilt and shame? And so I love that you've brought in the work around addiction, because my work says that we are addicted to the self-loathing, the unworthiness, because every single negative, fearful, judgmental thought that we have about ourselves and or others produces a tiny little amount of adrenaline, cortisol. We are drip feeding ourselves all day, every day, stress hormones through our thinking.
Yeah.
And so it's become, we are totally addicted to it. Yeah. Adrenaline and cortisol are more addictive than heroin, than nicotine, than cocaine. Like we've got our own drug on tap every single day.
Yeah. And then our thinking
feeds it.
Our feelings, right?
Yes.
And then we are then in that state of co-creation. And that's where people like don't understand the power of what's happening in their mind. They don't understand that if you are consciously every day engineering your life through your thought patterns and being on that wheel and having all that self-loathing and being filled physically with adrenaline, which is, you know, very detrimental to your physical body, how do they break that cycle? Because it's about the universe, God consciousness, doesn't hear your thoughts. It feels you. It feels the emotion created. So the thought creates the emotion, right? And then the emotion, the feeling goes out into the world, and that creates your reality. And that's like, wow.
Yeah.
So having the choice about choosing love or fear, or being mindful, or being awake, or being asleep, or, you know, whichever analogy you love, you are in control of your feeling state. In fact, it's the only thing you can control. Yes. That's it. Can't control COVID, can't control the weather, can't control your children. I can't control mine. No. But we can control how we respond and react in that situation. And that's the basis of mindfulness. And I'm still, oh gosh, learning this all the time. I still lose it. I still shout. But it's like, I'm just choosing to, you know, I want to respond in a mindful, compassionate, loving way instead of habitually reacting. Yes. Parenting's a wonderful tool for that. Yes. And so when we really understand that we have this control, we have this power, and we understand that when we live from our heart, not our head, so our head is full of our busy, overwhelmed, stressed out state of being, and we come into our heart where we feel, and we know that that is an electromagnetic, you know, the thoughts are sparks of energy, but then the feeling is consciously co-creating our reality. And that's really like abundance, freedom, joy, lives in the present moment. Yes. Right? Like, and all of the great leaders will teach you this. Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, it is right here, right now. And I remember when I was really struggling with motherhood or going through my divorce or, you know, getting over postnatal depletion, it was just being present and knowing it will pass, you know, and just breathing or listening to mantra or using oils or, you know, using the senses as we spoke, and using sex, using touch. I mean, hugging for 20 seconds releases oxytocin. Yeah. You know, yeah. And being really mindful. And that's how we start this beautiful process of evolution. And we get really like, well, if I'm consciously co-creating my reality all of the time, what am I choosing?
Yes. Yeah.
So when you detox, you're consciously choosing to clear your vessel and become more aware and make, like, I've stopped, I mean, I do drink coffee sometimes, but I don't really drink alcohol anymore, or I drink decaf, and all of these were choices from the detox.
Yeah.
It was affecting my sleep, and I was like, oh, nobody wants that going on, especially in your early 40s where there's all kinds of crazy changes.
Yeah.
So,
and we've got young children, haven't we, Lainey? We had
yeah,
children.
it's just like,
Oh my gosh, how am I going to survive this if I don't really get my shit together? And
yeah, totally. And so this is this, yeah, for me, it's always been a way of being. Mindfulness is, it looks great on paper, and there's so much research now. You're going to be more connected, and you're going to have better relationships, you're going to be more resilient, and you're going to have all these amazing health benefits. But if you don't practice it, it's just not going to benefit you in any way. So that's why throwing yourself into a detox or doing something, it's gonna propel you there. Like, you don't really have a choice. It's kind of like, you're in it. And that's what I think is really powerful about it, because it's like, well, you can go eat that piece of chocolate.
Yeah. And for those of us and everyone listening who have a busy mind, we all have a busy mind. The thoughts, the ego wants to be present. It wants to be in control. It wants to distract us. It wants to sideswipe us. It wants to be fed adrenaline and cortisol, because that's what it lives off, is fear. Yeah. So it is difficult for people, a little bit like going to the gym or starting a yoga practice. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, you feel sore, you don't want to do it. Why am I doing this? I'm not getting any benefit from it. The detox, the reason it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, and it's like, bang, here is the space between your thoughts. Here is the space between the toxins in your system. Here is your opportunity to connect in with the present moment. Right here, right now. And you haven't had to you haven't had to do yoga for 6 months to actually connect to a mindfulness practice. So detoxing is a really great window. It's like, here you go. This is what mindfulness feels like. This is what the present moment feels like. This is what your thought and your body and your feelings feel like without all the toxic crap running around in there and the toxic thoughts. Here are the spaces between. Really, in 3 days on a detox, you can begin to access the present moment so much more easily. I mean, you and I, we consciously return to the present moment, probably thousands of times a day. But people starting off on a mindfulness practice, one breath, I remember to do that once a day. Like, imagine going to the gym and in a year's time, you've got these muscles and you're always strong. So a detox can accelerate. It's a hack. It can get you into a mindfulness process really quickly. And then you go, it then gives you this reference point, because we all will fall off the wagon. We'll start doing our things and eating chocolate and drinking coffee again. Detoxing, it's not the thing that saves us forever, but it's something I do it 4 times a year. I take people through it in the sanctuary 4 times a year. But it will give me the reference point when I start to feel crap again. I'll go, here I am feeling a little bit, I want to go back there. But most people who are feeling crap daily think, no, this is just me, this is normal, because I haven't had the experience of what it feels like to feel amazingly cleansed and awake and in heaven. Detoxing gets you to heaven? What? Really? And the best part about it is that, we take drugs and we drink coffee and we drink alcohol and we go on social media and we eat sugar, and we get this little high for about 5 minutes. And then we get this long drawn out hangover of the self-loathing and the beating myself up. Detoxing, you get to have the hangover first, like the first couple of days. Yes, it's a bit crap, but then you get to go on the high for like days, weeks, months. Like, we reverse the process. And if people are prepared for a couple of days of feeling a bit, we do it on the weekend. Some people's symptoms aren't that bad. Some people, if you drink a lot of coffee, you can have a few headaches. Yeah. But it's also not about deprivation. It's about filling yourself with really yummy, nutritious food. Like, there's not a starvation diet here. It's just taking out the crap, and detoxing is about adding in. It's about adding in the nutrition and the connection strategies and the oxytocin producing strategies and the things that we love and that we really enjoy. And it's the most self-nurturing experience ever. Yeah. And I really try and hope to educate people that that's what it is, because people are shit scared of it. They're like, deprived and starving, I'm going to feel like shit. And it's like, it's actually amazing.
It is beautiful. I can't wait. I'm really excited to do it again, especially after New Year and coming into, you know, we had fun over Christmas, but then we were like, right, you know, we're going to get back into it. And we still have our juices regularly. We still have soup regularly. Like, you know, again, you can change. And this is all part of your mindfulness practice, making a conscious choice. What are you putting in your body? You know, what are you feeding your family? And so it really filters out. You know, when you see your kids really enjoying a bowl of soup or salad or whatever it is, that I really love. But detoxing is just one beautiful part of what you do. I mean, that really is the beginning of a journey for a beautiful woman to accelerate into her awakening. You also have your spiritual companioning, and I'm loving your beautiful program where, you know, as a space holder, whereas I hold space for women in the beautiful spiritual Bling Collective, we need to be held as well. And I think that's something that you do so beautifully and without judgment, and you're sharing the spirit of ascension, and you're sharing virtue cards, and, you know, it is just such a beautiful practice. And it's these, again, reminders.
Yes.
We know all of this. It's the reminder. And that to me is mindfulness. It's put the reminders everywhere. Put the virtue cards everywhere. Put the crystals, put the beautiful plants to connect with the earth. Like, you know, my house is so beautiful. I've got my backdrop up, I'm in the kitchen, but, you know, I look around and there's birds and there's trees and there's plants and it's just divine, like your beautiful space that you have there. And it fills my soul, especially without the children here, you know, with everything. There's no clutter. There is in the playroom, but we shut the door. But it's, you know, about having that, you know, being of service and being closer to God and heaven. And I really love all of that. And that's what the Spiritual Bling Collective is about as well. The earrings, that when I started to create earrings, they're a mindful reminder.
Yes.
They're a self-care practice. So when you get up and you decide what you're going to wear, and color has a huge impact on how we feel, and you adorn yourself in a beautiful pair of earrings, that every time you look in the mirror, you're reminded of your inner beauty and your inner power, and they're a talisman. And when I create them, it's conscious, it's co-creation. I'm creating them with you, but I'm creating them with the universe as well, because I'm present, and our hands are an extension of our heart. And I love that process of creation, but also knowing that when I send out these beautiful earrings, you know, the women that receive them really love them and feel that divine connection. And then when we come together in circle, we can go deep, and we love and trust each other, and we talk about these beautiful themes, and we meditate. And, you know, and we're there to let go of our fears and our worries and our anxieties. And it's an opportunity to return to wholeness, to return to wellness, to return to the light. And we all need that in our day-to-day life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's so important to have a spiritual practice, whether it's walking in nature, whatever works for you. Everyone's totally different. So everyone has to find their own mindfulness practice. But what do you do? Like, what do you do in your day that allows you to practice mindfulness and be really present?
Yes. Oh, I love that. The one thing, and it's really been blowing my mind, which is always the intention, is this moment in the morning when I first wake up.
Yeah.
And I invite everyone to try this, actually, because it's an incredible experiment. When you first wake up, it's like the computer booting up in the morning, and it's searching for the Wi-Fi. You'll notice your mind, the first thing you wake up, and there is this moment between asleep and awake where there is a space. And then as soon as we come into the consciousness looks for the thoughts. It looks for the reference point to what was my last thought last night, and what did I worry about, and what am I to-do list? And I just start plugging into this future thinking or the past thinking. And then I'm on, and I'm jumping out of bed, and I'm doing my practices, and I'm getting kids ready for school, and I'm having my shower. So there's this moment between waking up and I focus on bringing conscious awareness into that moment. And the question that I ask myself is, who am I?
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up in the morning, who am I? And I notice the desire or the adrenaline junkie in me trying to hook into a fearful thought or a busy thought. And I come back to this space between, and I stretch it out now. So it's getting longer and longer and longer. I can stay in this who am I space, and I connect deeply with the observer. deeply with pure conscious awareness, deeply with feelings of love and joy and presence. And I wake up and I look at my beautiful sanctuary around me, and I look at what I've created, and I look at the trees, and I connect in with my senses, and I notice the desire to start the fearful thinking, and I just don't. I just keep coming back to, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And then I can have my intentions of, I choose to bring joy and grace and peace into my day. And then I can move into a gratefulness practice. And what am I so grateful for? And I feel myself, and I raise my vibration before I've even got out of bed. And then I can go into my, right, let's get the kids up and do the stuff. And then the next process is my shower. And my shower is another ritual for me, because I physically cleanse my body, but I tap in the shower every morning. So when I finally allow my thoughts to be present, I notice whatever's lingering from yesterday. I had a conversation with someone, or this is happening and I haven't quite released it, and I just let it all go. And then any worries that I might be feeling about today, I've got this conversation, I've got this to do, and I've got to create that, and I just tap it all out down the shower, down the plug hole. So we can energetically and spiritually cleanse our energetic field, our emotions, our thoughts, just like we brush our teeth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the tapping, because I literally associate turning on the tap with tapping.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's literally like the mindful reminder, right? The mindful reminder. So you may have words of affirmation in your house, or you may have, like I've got these little sort of like Buddhas set up with, it's all very beautiful, right? So it's just like little pockets of beauty that really remind me to just take a breath and be present. And I love that first thing in the morning, because you literally are programming your day from the moment you wake up. And I've really tried to just stop checking my phone, like first thing, because I'll wake up and there's emails and Facebook and what's happening and just really trying to not do that until I've kind of got up and at least had a cup of tea, and just that's a real mindfulness practice for me. A beautiful mug, a beautiful tea, like a moment of peace and quiet. And it might be while I'm making sandwiches and the kids are running around, but it's something I do every morning after my beautiful water with lemon and ginger, right? Like hydrate, and then and I think there's a million different ways of doing it, but it's when you start a mindfulness practice in any way, it's you start, and then over time, the way the mind, where the brain works, you start to do it automatically. So what you're ultimately doing is you've got your conscious and your subconscious mind. So again, about 90% of what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling is subconscious, right? The autopilot, right? Subconscious. We're not aware of what we're doing or how we're thinking or feeling. It's just on autopilot. So we have this opportunity then to go into our conscious mind, the conscious choice. And what's beautiful and amazing, and this is why scientists love mindfulness, it's based on neuroscience. You can retrain your mind like the puppy, so that you may start one little practice, and after 40 days or however long, it's automatic. I'm automatically getting my tea. I'm automatically tapping in the shower. I'm automatically going down to my child and looking at them and being present with them. That's where my joy is.
Yes.
Brushing my daughter's hair, putting a little plait in, like all the little things that you do, right? Like I still sit with my kids when they're sleeping and just tell them I love them. And I wrote about that in Mother Romeo. It goes to their higher self. Like it's beautiful. All these little practices that you can do that allow you to feel connected to yourself.
Yes.
Your self-care is number one, right? Self-preservation, self-care. And then you can flow out to the rest of the world. And so I love this idea of mindful reminders.
Yes.
It's really key. And I would love you to share a little practice with us. We've both got our mala beads on. We have beautiful mala beads from our divine sister Kim Nguyen. I know. I've got that one too. And I've got amethyst.
Goddess of grace, yummy.
Oh, so isn't she divine? We adore Kim. And again, how can we associate our intention, our feeling, to become a mindfulness practice? And I would love you to just take us through a brief practice that allows us to do that, so that when we then wear our mala or put our earrings on, or we water our plant, or we make love with our partner, or whatever we're doing, we're kind of building that spiritual muscle, and that we're cultivating a sense of awareness. So would you do that for us?
I would be honored to do that for you and everyone who's listening. Absolutely. So what we might do is, if people are listening to the replay, maybe press pause and just run and grab a crystal, because I'm sure everyone who's listening to this type of, following Lainey, you're going to be a person, I'm sure.
Just go to your garden and select one of the many crystals you've got there. Get the one from under your pillow.
Right within reach. So grab a crystal and just intuitively choose one, just whatever you're drawn to, and bring it back to the practice, and just have that in front of you, because we're going to, do an invocation with that crystal. So once you've grabbed that, just find yourself in a comfortable position. You can grab some mala beads if you want to, or maybe
to be fair, you could grab a pen. It doesn't actually matter. It doesn't have to be a crystal. You can grab whatever is close to you. It's about the intention and the process. So
yeah. And sometimes a piece of jewelry, a ring, or something that you usually wear, or that you will spend some time with anyway in the future. So just grabbing something, finding yourself a comfortable space. If you're driving the car, do not do this. Only if you're safe to do so. So just closing down your eyes, taking a big deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth with a big sigh. Just getting yourself into a comfortable position. Placing your hand over your heart, connecting in with your heart space. Just taking another deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth with a big sigh. And just inviting you to leave all of the conversation that we have previously had on the call, leaving it all behind. Just coming into the present moment. Coming into this one precious, divine, heavenly, magical, conscious moment. Becoming aware of all that which is happening right now in this instant, in this holy instant. Becoming aware of any sounds that you might hear, the sound of my voice, the sound of any noises within your immediate space. Noticing the amount of light that still may be entering through your eyelids. Noticing any taste in your mouth left over from what you've just eaten or drunk. Noticing the sensation of your clothes on your skin. Noticing the temperature of the air on your hands. Noticing the weight of your body on the chair or the floor. Noticing anything you might be able to smell. Noticing the air moving in through your nostrils, down the back of your throat, and filling up your lungs as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just feeling the slight sensation of the air running over your top lip. You may even feel your heart beating within your chest wall. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in and out. So here we are using all of the senses as anchors to call us home, to call you home. Each sense is an anchor, a reminder to come back to the present moment. Now let's imagine and try to call your attention on all of those senses at once. Just see how possible that is for you. Can you notice what you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch all at once? It takes conscious awareness and intent to remain in the present moment. I invite you to gently now allow yourself to notice your thoughts. You may have thoughts of questioning. Am I doing this right? Oh, this is confusing. Oh, I think I left the oven on. Oh, I've got so much to do. Why am I sitting here? Just noticing the thought. And just picturing them as clouds. Picturing yourself observing those thoughts as separate from the truth of who you really are. Know that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And I invite you to call upon your virtue of acceptance when you do notice a thought. Most people will bring in a sense of judgment. Oh, stop thinking. Oh, I can't quieten my mind. Oh, that's a terrible thought. Oh, I should be thinking better. Ah. Inviting you to refrain from a sense of judgment. Notice the desire to judge and simply call on your virtue of acceptance that these thoughts are present, the type of thoughts, and the frequency of those thoughts. Mindfulness is not about stopping your thinking. Mindfulness is about first and foremost noticing your thinking. And then as your practice progresses, it's about finding the space between the thoughts. So let's just for now focus on the noticing. And as you do notice, the next step is that I invite you to celebrate. Not celebrate the thought, celebrate the awareness of the thought. Celebrate the connecting in with the observer. Ah, here I am noticing my thoughts. Congratulations, how exciting. Celebrating the separation between you and your thoughts. Celebrating the connection into pure conscious awareness. And then I invite you to simply and very gently call your attention home to the breath. And then in the next millisecond, you might find yourself thinking again, another thought. Am I doing this right? Oh, this is interesting. Oh. Again, notice the thought. Celebrate the awareness of the thought. Call upon your virtue of acceptance. Very gently call your attention home to the breath. So notice, accept, celebrate the observer, back to the breath. Mindfulness is a cycle. It's a circular motion. It's not linear. It has no goal. It's simply a process. Every time you bring your attention back to the present moment, it's like lifting a weight at the gym. You are increasing your mindful muscle. Every time you return to the breath, you awake. You wake up. So let's just sit in silence just for 60 seconds so that you can practice this process on your own without the sound of my voice. So again, reminder, notice the thought, accept the thought, celebrate the connection with the observer of the thought, return to the breath. So in 60 seconds, I'll let you know when that time is up. So I invite you now to reach out to the crystal, the mala, the piece of jewelry, whatever you have in front of you. And then closing down your eyes again, holding that crystal in your hand, feeling the texture, noticing the shape, feeling the temperature, and calling upon your sense of curiosity as if this is the first time you have ever touched or felt this object. Beginner's eyes are a big part of mindfulness. And I invite you to have the intention to activate this object, to become a mindful reminder to you, so that every time you see it in the future, it invites you to remember to come back to the breath, to come back to the present moment. I invite you to set the intention and activate this object to be your mindful anchor, to be a mindfulness hack, to call you home, to spark remembrance, to wake you up as much as humanly possible. With your intention, you can activate anything. You can program anything. You are the creator of your universe. And I invite you to place this crystal somewhere where you can see it often. Next to the computer, in the kitchen, somewhere where you visit often. Carry it in your bag. Holding this crystal, this object, sending some loving intention to it, and then feeling the loving intention come back towards yourself. This process you can do with many objects. You can create many mindful hacks in your life. The more, the better. Surround yourself with them. Remembrances to wake up. So I invite you now to take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth with a big sigh. Before we open our eyes, I invite you to take this feeling that you have now, perhaps describe it for yourself. Whether it's peace, connectedness, love, joy. I invite you to take this feeling with you when you wake up, when you open your eyes, and grow this feeling. And know that you can access this space, this emotion at any time through a mindfulness practice. So now just bringing some slow and gentle movement to your fingers and toes. When you're ready, slowly blinking open your eyes. How do you feel now, my love?
Yeah. I'm always like, don't drive after you've done a meditation, because I'm like, woo, so beautiful. Thank you.
Who needs drugs? Really? Who does? It's all on tap. Right here.
Yeah, that was beautiful, and I can't wait to share this interview across the interwebs, and really invite anyone who feels called to join the collective, to receive earrings, whether you wear them or gift them or hang them on your tree of life, or whatever feels good for you. But I would love to welcome you into a circle to feel that, into that energy and that vibration. But each month, one of the divine women in the collective is interviewed. Next month is alignment, and the following month is self-expression. So we're exploring these beautiful themes that, again, are all essential. But mindfulness, as you very beautifully have articulated, is the fundamental to everything. And it's really helped me navigate some very challenging times. And it still continues to. And I find so much joy in the simplest things. It really is magical right? Like just plaiting my daughter's hair before she went to school today, and it was her first week at a new school, and she got a little certificate because, you know, she's tried so hard and she's been so positive, and I was just like so proud of her in that moment.
Yeah, so
The
beautiful.
little sparkly hair clips, and I went and booked her, you know, a hair appointment because for her that's really exciting to sit in the chair and, you know, just yeah, maybe some ice cream, but, you know, just simple little things where we can really feel joy and connection and be present. So thank you, my love. I'm so grateful for your presence and your time. You know, our next circle, yeah, it's all about mindfulness, and I can't wait to dive deeper into this and to really share it with the women in the collective. You're already very mindful, but there's so many layers to this magical ancient art.
Yes.
So thank you. I'm so grateful.
Yes,
And yeah, I will share links to the Spiritual Bling. I will share links to Tamala's amazing detox program and her amazing work. And yeah, we welcome you.
yes. Please come and join us in the Spiritual Bling. If you want to have a pair of these every month and come and hang out with the gorgeous women in there. Lainey holds the most incredible space. I'm so in love with it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, uplifting. And because, you know, I am also a space holder, I get to be held by you, like incredible. And the detox program, we've got it starting next week. I run it 4 times a year. Come in there and let me hold space for you.
Yeah.
Come hang out with both of us.
It's so good. It's so good. And the podcast you heard me on before that you mentioned at the beginning was my podcast, Magnetic Mum.
Oh, okay.
It was my podcast. And I'm really feeling that I will reignite that. And I want to share all these interviews on there as well, because I've got this amazing platform. It had 10,000 downloads. It did really well. And then I had another baby.
Yes. Yes.
Magnetic Mama is pretty magnetic when it comes to that kind of thing. So yes, I'm feeling the call to ignite that and share this on YouTube and Facebook and social and on iTunes. So there's lots of ways to connect with us.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
You too.